My series is called Different Than Me, where I interview people who are different than me. In this case, I'm doing a mini series on my sister, and it's called No More Strokes. And the idea is to have her have no more strokes and to educate all of you and us, and to be able to be a community to share what it's like and what a person might need, and to share some different perspectives so we can be better advocates. It sounds like you have to take this into your own hands. So what have you done, or what can you advise people? Because there's a Western philosophy that, hey, here's some drugs, Oxycontin, whatever, just do your thing, don't worry about it, no problem. Mm-hmm. So what have you learned, or what would you encourage other people to do?
Well, I think, so the way the stroke affected my mind is really important in that. So I went into the rehab hospital and I was like, hey, made friends with everyone. Just like, it's all good. Like, I just have stroke, it matters. It's like, it's crazy, right? Because most people are really depressed or upset or angry or like have some mm-hmm. But part of it's who I am. That's that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's also just the way the stroke affected me. And so because I was so like, hey, whatever, I didn't advocate for myself at all. And no one advocated for me. Okay. So, my brother had a stroke recently. I said, you need to advocate for him right away. And just whether it's with the doctors, like being there and listening to them, and then asking questions on your brother's behalf. If you want you have to be respectful of the patient. I wish someone had advocated for me when I was in the hospital, because I think we could have gotten a lot more information from the therapists, and they could have understood how much support I had. I had a lot of support. Yeah. That just not knowledgeable. Support. Yeah, they just didn't know what to do.
She had so much support. I'm like, oh my gosh, she had like 100 people willing to like bring her kids everywhere and make her dinner, do all this stuff. I'm like, if this happens to me, I have like 3. Mom, Dad, and Heather. Anyways, that's another story. But so can you share with us what that looks like if somebody is advocating for you?
Yeah, I think like asking questions, and that's one thing I never did. So they were adjusting like my drugs in the hospital, which is actually no big deal. It was just blood pressure meds, and it was actually just took them away. But I mean, that would have been better if I just said, oh, now why are you doing that? I thought that you weren't supposed to take that one away. And asking questions, because then when my primary care doctor saw me about, a month later, she's like, so why did they do this? I'm like, I don't know. They just did it. And like, if someone had been there saying and asking those questions, either prompting me or actually asking for me, either way, I was easy. So I don't care if people ask questions on my behalf. Other people, they feel like it's just their business. But I think just trying to figure out, or like even with PT, like, why are we doing this? And what can we do to follow up? Like, so in every day I was working on walking. So, but we were doing strengthening things. Like I'd ride the bicycle, right? And that was very hard because I couldn't control my legs. So they'd strap my foot on. And it would be just very awkward, my knee flailing around. But I can see what they're doing. Like if someone had maybe written it, I never thought about doing that again, but like, oh, this is an exercise you can do. So if I go over to the gym, I could go do the bike, right? I guess I never even thought about tying my foot down for that. Oh, maybe I have those things. But just those kind of questions, I mean, they're not, it's not hard or complicated. It's kind of stuff you would just ask, but your brain is messed up, and that people can't see the difference in me before and after the stroke in many ways. So there's not a lot of physical. It's not obvious unless I'm walking, and but there is an effect in my brain. Like Ray can see it, but I mean, my brain is not as sharp. I'm not as clear thinking. I can't problem solve the same way. It's harder, and so those deficits are completely in my head, and most people won't see them, but they are affecting how I think and how I interact with the world, because I'm just not as clear thinking. So that's where that just helping with trying to navigate that. Now that's not the same for everyone. I mean, why I'm clear thinking is because my stroke was in the motor place in your brain, so like walking and stuff is hard, whereas it could have been in another place, and that would have affected speech primarily, but maybe you're thinking straight. And you're like, I saw this one lady, or met her, who had a young stroke. She's probably my age, and she'd had it 10 years prior, but she looked completely normal. but it was all in her thinking. And she's like, my brain is so scrambled now. And it was so interesting to hear her story because it's so different than mine. So, like, I'm sure she could not have said, go pick up my kids, because it happened right in that communications center.
So I want to back up to the support piece. So it sounds like having somebody just to say why. Let's say you know nothing about strokes. Why? Why is that? And to take notes and write it down. And then it can be shared with the people around you.
Yeah.
And like what I was doing is I was watching Khan Academy and just YouTube videos on hemorrhagic stroke. What is that? So maybe looking at, there's so much you can learn online, so maybe getting some education for yourself and then asking questions. And recording it, I think, in one place where it's shareable, maybe Google Docs or something. So then Ray or my mom or my dad or your friends could see what the progress is.
So when I was in the hospital, Mom did make me a notebook, and it had, like, guests signed in and stuff, but it also had all the sections about kind of everything.
Like what?
I don't know, but she had, like, stroke information that she printed off the internet and put in there. I'm not sure who that was for, but it was in there. So it was kind of just, it had different tabs. Maybe it had a place, I think, for my exercises, because someone's giving handouts, and I could put that in there. I don't remember what else, but it was exactly what we were talking about. But I didn't get that till right near the end, so we didn't use it that much.
So I think my mom's super organized. You wouldn't necessarily guess that, but she was. Her mind, and she has a great memory long term. But so having all that there, if people knew what to do with it, maybe.
Right? Yeah.
And if you knew your role, I think having somebody to say, "Hey, no, please help her." Remind her to squeeze the ball, or like, we want you to do this. I think having like the project manager, like,
I think putting a sign in my bedroom would have been great, to have that sign that just says, while you're visiting Tracy, please, and it could be, ask her name and her birth date if that's one of the issues, or make sure she squeezes the ball, or why don't you play with Legos together, because that's the kind of stuff I was doing for rehab, was Legos, or a lot of just picking up pom-poms and moving them, right? And like, especially if kids came, they totally do it with me. They think it's the most fun. I'm like the most fun in their life, in the world, right? Yeah. So, I was just using lots of things that you'd really do with like 3-year-olds in preschool, and doing that as with the sand as my therapy. But that would have been good to have that written there, because people are uncomfortable. Like, you come in and you're like, hi, how's it going? It's very like, I'm not quite sure what to do until they talk, and like, it's just awkward. And if they could be helpful, everyone wants to be helpful, right? So, but they don't know how to be helpful. I'm just sitting there, and so we just talk, and we talk about the flowers and my view, which is beautiful, and whatever. So it would be helpful, I think, to just have that posted, or if you're, like, we use Facebook a lot. I'm not sure that I use it a whole lot, but where you could say, hey, if you're going by today, why don't you, work on moving the pom-poms today? And the next day say, hey, if you're going by today, why don't you work on the clothespins? So there's different things, but just give people ideas.
I think it's permission, because unless you have some situation, you have no clue. And so having the main caretaker or friend or something say, this is what we're trying to do. So giving permission, like on the wall, or just kind of putting an email out. She has such a huge network. One of the things we did is her husband set up and friends set up the software to coordinate. She has really busy kids, like taxi driver mom right here, to all the different things. And also, it was kind of ridiculous. And then food. And so coordinating that was, thank you, software, and Ray and friends did a great job with that. But coordinating food also, because she wasn't home. So who's going to cook? Right? Maybe if you barbecues, maybe, but also really busy. So I guess, having a couple event planners in the mix to be able to say, hey, we need help, and then posting on Facebook. Because I was in San Diego, like, I don't know how to help, but I can coordinate. So posting out like her progress and saying, hey, why don't you visit Tracy? I don't know what to do also, but using social media to help.
I also did Facebook Lives a few times from the rehab hospital, and I know, like, especially one of my friends in New York, she was just wanting so much to connect with me. Like, she was so worried about me, and like whenever I'd post a video, she'd be so thankful because she could see that I was okay, and that was huge for her. So I was able to do that myself, but helping someone do that, because not everyone would think to do that, especially if they're not social media people. And saying, hey, why don't we put out a video out there, or why don't we make some kind of little update and just let people know what's going on?
Because it's awkward. And also, who do you talk to? Me, who they haven't met in Seattle. I mean, who do you contact? So having your own PR team is what it comes down to, because people are concerned and they don't know what's appropriate. So knowing, oh my gosh, she's doing this now, and hey, I'm good on the computer. Maybe I could do that order on Shutterfly for you. So social media is good.
And my friend who had originally set up the meals, she set up a care calendar or something, but she also gave an option for people to order locally made. This one man has a business making meals that are organic and use doTERRA, it was fabulous food, amazing. So it's fresh made that day, and it comes that day. And so people could give a gift certificate, so we could just order those meals when we needed food.
So can you list out some of the types of chores? I mean, you have kids, so there's a bunch of them, but so meal making, laundry, rides is a big one.
Rides was huge because I was having to go to therapy almost, after I got out of the hospital, almost daily. And rides was an issue because I couldn't drive for 6 months. So
she can drive now, though, by the way, which was shocking. I was like, no, please, you're not on your phone right now. Are you driving? No, please, no. But, yeah.
Yes. Laundry. I mean, the family can do laundry on their own. And that was actually probably the number one therapy I did, was doing laundry. So my kids used to help with laundry a lot, and since the stroke, I do all the laundry because it's therapy I'm supposed to do, and I don't mind doing it. So I'm like, now my kids probably don't know how to do laundry, but whatever, they'll learn that someday. Well, Joshua has football season, so he does his own laundry. So doing laundry. Cooking is actually the hardest thing in my everyday tasks to do. Now, well, then and now, but I mean, because I can't cut. Okay, so I've had to get different devices for the kitchen. I use a food processor now probably once a week, but I would say last year every single day I used a food processor because it would cut up my food for me. So it gets really boring to have stuff sliced in every day, but at least we got food, right? So I have a dicer that I can do. So a lot of kitchen devices are made for two hands, and so I can't use a lot of them. So, but I got one where you just go like this, and a potato will just be pushed through the thing, or
so cool.
Carrot.
I bet a lot of them as seen on TV, QVC.
Oh yeah,
Home Shopping Network.
Totally. Yeah. So I mean, and I actually go to those websites and look for things that are going to be helpful for me. And you can go to the I want to say, can't remember the PC term, differently abled website, right? So that can be helpful. I haven't done that, but
that's cool. I'm interested in that.
Right. So you can find things. So having one hand is not particularly unusual, right? Whether it's from a stroke or from cutting your hand, there's many reasons why you would have only one hand. It's not common, but it's out there. So, or to have left-handed things. So, because I can't cut with right-handed scissors. And so I was like, this is I use scissors daily in the kitchen. And so I was like, wow, this just takes away one more thing. So I got some left-handed scissors, and it just makes all the difference. So I still can't necessarily hold something with my right hand. So if I have salmon and then it's greasy inside, has oil. And so if I hold the packet of salmon and cut it, I spill oil all over the kitchen. So I still have someone help me with stuff like that. I mean, everything in the kitchen every single day is hard. We never eat sweet potatoes because there's no way I can cut a sweet potato.
Oh, there, yeah.
Yeah, so you can bake it whole, or I can, have someone else do it. Of course, the kids have been super helpful, but there's a lot of things I'm like, okay, they're so busy. It's hard to ask them to come cut a sweet potato, which is actually really hard to do also, right? And so, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things in the kitchen. Vacuuming is really hard because it's heavy, but I solved that really quick. I got a Roomba all right off the bat, and our floor is so clean. So
yes, yeah. It is. So I think when your friend or relative has a stroke or any kind of anything like that, chores, household chores, those are difficult. I remember I was being clumsy, and I was like, wow, this is so hard to whatever I was doing. And just the other day, I was opening jars. I'm like, there's no way you can open that. I'm pretty strong. But it'd be cool to have, I'm sure there's a line of jars or something where they're easier.
Well, they have different kinds of jar openers. Mom has a lot of that from her OT stuff.
Oh.
But like they have a rubber ring that goes around a lid. It makes it easy to open, but you still need a decent bit of coordination, and you still need 2 hands.
Or you may need a waist or something like.
So, yeah. So, yeah, there's so many things. Like, I mean, for me, I don't wear a lot of makeup, so that's not a big issue. But if I had to do eyeliner, left-handed, that wouldn't work.
Oh.
I can do mascara. I can do foundation, and that's all I need.
So I was struggling. My Facebook friends know this with my swimsuit.
Oh, yeah. I didn't wear a swimsuit for at least a year. There's no way.
Well, just a clasp. I mean, bra, like, I was struggling, and I'm pretty nimble, and I work out a lot, and I was just, like, could not get my swimsuit on for, like, many times. And then, so, like, bras? Can we talk about bras? Do you front? Like, how do you?
No, I do a normal bra, but I put it on, I hook it in front and switch it around, which I never did that before, but yeah. It's still really hard because it can take me 3 or 4 minutes just to get one hook done, and you have to get 2. So I mean that's hard, and I mean there's things like, so I'm like, okay, I don't have a problem going to the bathroom, but I can see how a lot of people would. I'm good with my left hand.
Okay.
But if I wasn't, I mean whether it's writing or whatever, I mean there's just so many things. Like I can't really write, and I can write a check. It takes me about a solid 5 minutes to write it out because I have to write really slow to make sure it's legible, because in case I want to snap a photo. But I can do it, but I almost always just make a signed signature that's really sloppy and then hand it to people and have them write it. It really freaks people out when you ask them to write your checks, but I'm like, can you just write this? Yeah, writing's an issue. Driving's no problem. But I got a new car because I didn't feel comfortable driving. So the new car has all the, beep, 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 honk, honk. Everything slams on the brakes when it needs to stop. When it thinks it needs to stop, whether or not I think it needs to stop. So it has all the safety features. And we didn't need a new car at all. So that was a huge expense. But to have all those, I didn't need to have a van. But we got a van, so it's expensive. But if just having a vehicle with all the safety features gives a lot of peace of mind. Even it stays in the lane, so it's not self-driving, but does a lot of things by itself. Really
and San Diego is treacherous. Like it's like and whatever a Google person is telling me, oh, take a right here. I'm like, what? Did you not? You just what? San Diego is crazy. It's crazy driving.
Yeah.
What do you wish you would have known ahead of time? Like, so you just got your stroke. Would have been great if you knew X, Y, and Z.
I feel like strokes are they're not rare, but I mean, most of my friends will not have a stroke. So like for most people, like whenever someone has a big life-altering thing, often a death, like by, drowning or something, people are like, okay, I need to educate everyone. And it's like, well, probably like no one will need that education. So I think it's good to try to educate people, post it, get the information out there. And I'm thankful for the people that do that. But the reality is, I don't know that I could have done anything to be more prepared. I guess what I should have had, and everyone has been told this by someone, but like, the information, your emergency information. I don't have emergency information.
Right.
I don't have it in the house. I don't have it on my phone. I don't have ice on my phone. I don't have anything.
Ice?
In case of emergency, you're supposed to
Oh.
have you as
Oh.
ice, Jillian Jang ice. So you then, if someone's having an emergency, someone's having a heart attack, and you're the first person there.
Yeah.
Well, you should deal with the emergency.
Yeah.
But the second person there should have the phone and search ice.
Oh.
And yeah, so you find ice and call that person. But no one could know who it was Ray, right? You can look at your contacts, like in the favorites.
Right.
And so I just have family, maybe a couple of friends, but that's not the best thing because those people mostly aren't local.
Right.
So it's mostly my family far away. So
action item, by the way, ICE. Another thing, I'm gonna interrupt, but what I started doing, because she has all of her church friends, all the school friends, all the doTERRA friends, and like she has so many friends in all these communities, and they're like, yes, we will do anything for her. I'm like, oh wow. And it made me think, oh geez, what if my mom and dad are not in town? Oh, what will I do? So since this, I've done a pretty good job of, I can do better, but making sure I have people who care about me that I can call 3 o'clock in the morning, who's going to have their ringer on and who will answer. So I think one of the big lessons for me is make sure you have a network. And so I have local friends, actually all mine are mostly local, but have these 10 people around and just say, hey, if something happens, can I call you? And just kind of setting that up. That reminds me I need to do that.
And they should have mom and dad's number, right? Because mom and dad are not that easy to get hold of. But if you call me at night, it will ring through. You're my
Thank
best.
you.
Yeah. And anyone in my favorites will ring through if they call me at night.
Okay, so that's like a ringer setting.
Yeah, so I think they text I won't get at night. So unless I'm awake, but I won't hear any alert. But if someone calls me, because I figure if there's an emergency in the night, you don't text, call, right?
Yeah.
So, but that's something to even communicate, like call, like don't text me because you need to know that. But yeah, so my phone is set so that those 10 people, if they call me, we can be there.
Something that she did when she was having a stroke. Oh, run to my house, get my purse. Here's the code to get in my house. Is keep your phone on you. I was just in the emergency room earlier this year, and I was choking, and my friend was with me, and then but he had my phone. But like your phone is everything, and I should have been videoing because of my Facebook people would respond. That's the quickest way for me to get a hold of somebody if I didn't know who. It'd be like put on Facebook of me going wah, and somebody's gonna say, oh my gosh, how can I help? So figure out maybe for you what's appropriate and how you're going to reach people. For me, it would be